he gets close enough to the windows that he's a bit wary because, well, I try to catch him. Dogs can never catch them, they always fly off. And dogs can catch rabbits around here, but not peacock. And these things will fly. I've seen them fly straight onto the blooming roof of the car and everything. It's just sort of brown feathers when he's flying, when he opens right up. But oh yeah, there's one of the trees we done last night. These are about $300 each, these blooming birds. You get young ones for about $200. Be a bad idea to breed them up if you knew anyone that actually gave a damn, but to me it's just a nicely coloured turkey. He's getting worried. Without all these pretty feathers, he's just a blooming turkey, really. Bit expensive to eat though, $300 each. Oh, blimey, he's off. He's spooked. His old doggy. Hey. So, whip it. Don't you, hey? I'm always sitting there at the kitchen table and Diddums comes up and puts his wet nose on me flipping hand every time. She's going to start raining. That's what we've done. Those original lamps, and we, I'll explain in another video, but as you can see, we've got a new double beam all the way along, and we've got a few strips holding the rafters down to help hold them down from the high winds. Anyway, it looks like we're going to be cut short here with the rain. Going to rip off some wallpaper and burn it in the old fireplace here, which you also can't see. Alrighty, we've seen two bits of video there, and there's going to be a bit more later on after this. I'll just tell you how we done what we done initially, and then I'll tell you what those big slitted logs were on the ground, and then you can watch the remainder of the video. What we done initially was I showed those old rotten bits laying on the ground. They were the original bottom plates, and of course we'd replaced them with treated pine, which was your light green stuff there. And how we actually done that was we got these, just decent sized sort of beams that were leftovers or come from another building or something, and we put them underneath the floor joists about 1.5 feet in front of the existing beam. And we got out, well, 3 jacks, and we jacked it up. And those joists actually come off, and the nails and all that were so old, they just lifted straight off the bottom plate. We pulled the bottom plate out, actually, part of it actually snapped off at one end, and then we put the new one, it's actually 2 pieces that have been nail gunned together, in place of it, and then let it down and I can't remember the exact order, but we ended up repacking some of the rocks underneath it, and then let the floor joist back down. We trimmed off the bottom of the studs, because they're old school studs. The way they work is they actually, your bottom plate has holes in it, and your studs actually have like this big finger that goes into the holes in the bottom plate. And you'll notice on these buildings, none of them have got noggins. And that's probably part of the reason why, because the studs actually go into the bottom plate. But what we've done was we trimmed all that off and then let it down, and the floor joist landed on the bottom plate, and so did the studs. So we nail gunned the studs to them, and somewhere there, I forget the exact order, purely because I'm that flaming tired at the moment. Somewhere there we packed rocks under, I think. We packed rocks under first before we let the jacks down, and we went along that and done that several times along the length of the building there. Now, those other big logs you saw, that's from a place called Radial Timber in Melbourne. And what they do is they get a log. I was trying to show with my hand movements near the end there what actually happens. They get the log, they debark it, and they put it in this great big, might have explained this in the video on the first day, but in this great big sort of, well, like a wood lathe, but something that will allow the log to spin around, but it'll stop at set intervals. It might be every 5-degree angle sort of thing it'll stop. And then they cut it with a circular saw from above, and what basically happens is you can see the circular saw marks I showed there where the curved blade on the end had come through, and you basically cut the last 1.5 foot of each end, and you'll see there's like a bit of dowel stuff in the middle, and basically it ends up being rustic weatherboards that are left behind. And yeah, I explained in the other video, like flowers, and it's almost like the petals, but that's, yeah, the way they come out. And yeah, it's an interesting way of milling weatherboards that I've never come across before, but that's the way they do these, and it must be quite an intriguing machine to watch it run. So yeah, I'll leave you with the last part of the video where you can see the massive big vine. He's actually going to try and get his miniature excavator in there to pull it out. And I said, you might want to trim it there, because one of them actually goes in behind the framing. So I might take the framing with it. He's going to be, he says, do you think we should trim it? I'm going, you better trim it, otherwise the frame will go down with it. But anyway, you'll get to see that now. We have a little bit of a vine issue. Just possibly, just maybe, we could clap this side after I go and rip out all the nails. But this damn thing has got roots in the ground in about 3 places. As you can see, the vine got some of the old cladding. I've tried to kill it several times and it just keeps coming back, because of the roots that sort of go underneath, and there's one over there, and yeah. Anyway, these were shown before, and here is actually newly built framing that we put in. Okay, second-hand studs, new bottom plate, and how grandiose. I like to think of them as period stumps relative to the period of the building. We had some wallpaper in here that was actually had newspaper backing and tar and horsehair holding it together, and we burnt it in said fireplace, which you won't see. Oh, there's a bit of embers there going. It's partly used rocks, local rocks for the stumps. And there was a lot of these big lumps of timber, but a lot of it rotted off at ground level, and they replaced it with rocks. Although half of it was done with rocks anyway.